Welcome, dear listeners, to The Shadow Behind You, the channel where the forgotten whispers of the past claw their way back into the light. Here, we unearth the bloodlines that time tried to bury, the institutions cursed by their own foundations, and the families that vanished into the ether, leaving only echoes of their screams. Tonight, we delve into a tale so shrouded in mist and secrecy that even the maps refuse to acknowledge it. It's 1901, in the heart of the Missouri Ozarks, a land of jagged hills, hidden hollows, and waters that hold more than reflections. This is the unwritten story of Caldwell Lake, a place of death, secrets, and forbidden truths that dare not be spoken aloud. Imagine, if you will, the Ozarks at the turn of the century. The air hangs heavy with the scent of pine resin and damp earth, where the sun filters through ancient oaks like reluctant confessions. Rivers carve through limestone like veins in a forgotten corpse, and the nights are alive with the calls of creatures unseen, owls hooting warnings, foxes yipping like lost souls. In this rugged expanse, communities cling to the land like lichen to rock, isolated hamlets where superstitions fester in the shadows of progress. Electricity is a distant dream. Lanterns flicker against the encroaching dark, casting elongated shadows that seem to move of their own accord. The people here are hardy, forged in the fires of frontier life, but they know better than to tempt the unknown. Whispers of Native American curses linger from the Osage and Cherokee who once roamed these hills, their trails of tears soaking into the soil. And amid it all, hidden in Shannon County near the sleepy town of Eminence, lies Caldwell Lake, a body of water that defies nature itself. Picture it, a lake roughly 300 yards across, its surface unnaturally still, as if holding its breath. No ripples disturb its glassy facade unless something stirs from below. The edges are lined with pale, smooth stones that gleam like bleached bones under the moon. There's no visible inlet or outlet, yet the water level remains constant, defying droughts and floods alike. The depths plunge to over 100 feet in places, a black abyss that swallows light and sound. Locals avoided it long before the Caldwells arrived, calling it the Devil's Mirror, or the Hungry Pool. Stories told around flickering hearths spoke of fishermen who cast lines and reeled in nothing but their own regrets, or worse, hooks snagged on things that pulled back with unnatural strength. It was into this forsaken place that the Caldwell family came in 1878, fleeing from Pennsylvania with pockets full of strange gold coins and eyes shadowed by unspoken burdens. Joseph Caldwell, the patriarch, a tall, gaunt man with a beard like tangled roots and eyes as dark as the lake itself, purchased the land without haggling, paying full price for what others deemed worthless rock and water. His wife, Margaret, a woman of fragile beauty with hair the color of autumn leaves, followed him with their young children, Elizabeth, the eldest at 19 by 1901, poised and watchful Robert 17, strong but silent Sarah 14, with a curiosity that would prove fatal, and little David just 10, whose laughter echoed too brightly against the gloom. They built a homestead on the lake's edge, a sturdy cabin of weathered logs, its windows like watchful eyes peering into the mist. Smoke curled from the chimney like spectral fingers, and the family rarely ventured into town. They schooled their children at home, shunned the local church led by Reverend Thomas Whitley, and paid for supplies with those odd coins that bore markings no one recognized. Whispers spread. Were they hermits? Fugitives? Or something worse? Neighbors spoke of strange lights flickering over the water at night, of animal cries cut short near the shore, and of the Caldwells themselves, pale, almost translucent, as if the lake leached the color from their skin. But in the spring of 1901, the facade cracked. Margaret fell ill, her body wasting away under symptoms that baffled the local doctor, severe anemia, bruises blooming like dark flowers on her arms, fingernails discolored as if dipped in ink. In her delirium, she muttered of faces in the water and the duty of the Caldwell blood. Joseph forbade her from drinking the lake's water, but defiance stirred in her weakened frame. Dr. William Harrington, a pragmatic man from Eminence, was summoned, a decision that would unravel the threads of secrecy binding the family. As Harrington approached the homestead on that fateful April day, the air grew thick, the birds falling silent. The lake loomed, its surface a perfect mirror reflecting the overcast sky like a judgmental eye. Inside, the house was immaculate yet oppressive, reeking of stagnant water and decay, a scent that clung to the skin like regret. The children moved with mechanical precision, their eyes avoiding his, their skin cold to the touch. Joseph hovered, agitated, his hands twitching as if restraining unseen urges. When questioned about the lake, he snapped, "Every Caldwell knows to respect the water." The words hung heavy, a warning wrapped in tradition. Harrington took a sample of the water. Dense, metallic, unlike anything he'd seen. He planned to analyze it further, but on his return visit, he vanished. His horse returned riderless, the buggy overturned as if by deliberate force. Bloodhounds traced his scent to the lake's edge and stopped, whining in terror. Sheriff James Holloway's investigation met Joseph Stonewall. The lake was family property, untouchable. But in the shadows, the truth festered. Margaret's death came soon after, unreported, her body unburied. Elizabeth informed the Reverend coldly, "Mother has returned to the water." The house stood empty thereafter, pristine yet damp, as if the lake had wept through its walls. What happened to the Caldwells? Why did footprints lead into the water but not out? And what lurked in those depths, demanding tribute in blood and bone? These are the questions that haunt us tonight. As we peel back the layers of this unwritten story, prepare to feel the chill of forbidden knowledge creeping up your spine. For in Caldwell Lake, the secrets don't stay buried. They rise, hungry and unrelenting. Stay with us, listeners. The shadow behind you is drawing closer. Now, let us step back into the mists of 1901, where the Ozarks breathed with a life of their own, ancient, untamed, and unforgiving. The Caldwell family's arrival in 1878 was like a stone dropped into still water. Ripples of curiosity spread through eminence, but soon the surface smoothed over, hiding what lay beneath. Joseph Caldwell, a man in his late 40s by then, carried himself with the weight of generations. His ancestors, whispers suggested, hailed from Scotland, fleeing some old-world curse that clung to their blood like moss to a grave. He spoke little of his past, only that Pennsylvania had grown too crowded for their ways. Margaret, his wife, was a vision of quiet endurance, her eyes holding depths that mirrored the lake. Together, they raised their children in isolation, teaching them not just reading and arithmetic, but rituals, unspoken patterns of stones arranged at the water's edge under the new moon. Offerings of small animals tossed into the depths with murmured incantations. The homestead was a fortress against the world. Built from local timber, its walls creaked like old bones in the wind, and the hearth fire burned low, casting flickering shadows that danced like specters. The children, Elizabeth with her sharp intellect, Robert with his brute strength honed by chopping wood, Sarah with her wandering eyes, and David with his innocent glee, knew the rules. Never drink from the lake. Never speak of the tributes. Never question father's duty. The lake itself was the heart of their world, a silent sentinel that dominated every view. By day it lay placid, reflecting the hills in perfect mimicry. But at night, when the fog rolled in thick as wool, strange phenomena stirred, soft glows beneath the surface, like lanterns held by drowned hands. Whispers carried on the breeze, indistinguishable from the rustle of leaves. It began innocently enough, or so it seemed. In early March 1901, Margaret complained of fatigue, her skin paling to the hue of milkweed. Joseph attributed it to the harsh winter, but as days lengthened, her condition worsened. Bruises appeared without cause, her nails turned brittle and black, and feverish dreams plagued her sleep. The faces, she'd murmur, thrashing under quilts soaked with sweat. They call from the water, demanding what is owed. Joseph confined her to bed, brewing teas from herbs gathered at the lake's edge, flowers with petals like blood drops, stems twisted as if in agony. The children tended her, their faces masks of dutiful concern, but Elizabeth's journal, hidden beneath floorboards and later discovered, revealed fractures. Mother questions the covenant. She wrote in neat script. She speaks of leaving, of breaking the chain. Father says the water must have its due, or all is lost. Dr. William Harrington entered this tableau on April 7, summoned by a rare town visit from Robert Harrington, a widower in his 50s with a penchant for science over superstition, rode out under a leaden sky, the path winding through dense woods where branches clawed like skeletal fingers. The air grew cooler near the lake, a chill that seeped into bones despite the spring warmth. Upon arrival, he noted the unnatural quiet, no birdsong, no insect hum, as if the land held its breath. Joseph greeted him at the door, his grip firm but cold, eyes darting to the water. Inside, the house assaulted the senses. Spotless floors gleamed, yet the air hung heavy with rot, like a bog unearthed. Margaret lay in bed, her frame skeletal, veins mapping blue rivers under translucent skin. Harrington examined her pulse weak, anemia severe, possible poisoning. "Has she ingested anything unusual?" he asked. Joseph shook his head, but Margaret's delirious whisper cut through. "The water. I drank it to see the truth." The doctor's sample from the lake felt heavy in his vial, its contents swirling unnaturally, metallic scent stinging his nostrils. The children observed from corners, their pallor matching their mother's, movements synchronized like puppets on strings. David, the youngest, clutched a toy boat carved from bone, white wood, whispering to it as if it lived. Harrington departed with promises of remedies, but unease gnawed at him. The lake's stillness unnerved. A tossed pebble sank without ripple, as if absorbed. That night, in his eminence office, he tested the sample high mineral content, unidentified organics that moved under magnification, forming patterns like veins. Not water, he journaled, but something alive. He planned a return visit, alerting Sheriff Holloway subtly. Suspicions of foul play stirred. April 9 brought the turning point. Harrington rode back, armed with tonics and questions. Hours passed. His horse returned alone, lathered in fear. Buggy found overturned a mile from the homestead, wheels deliberately sabotaged. No sign of the doctor, save drag marks leading to the woods, toward the lake. Sheriff Holloway, a burly man with a mustache like broom bristles, assembled a posse. They arrived at dusk, lanterns casting golden pools on the mist-shrouded ground. Joseph met them, calm but unyielding. The doctor left safely. "Search if you must, but not the water." The bloodhounds bayed, tracing Harrington's scent to the shore, then cowered, tails tucked, refusing to advance. One deputy dipped a hand in. It emerged numb, skin prickling as if watched. As night fell, the search yielded nothing but dread. Whispers seemed to rise from the lake, faint calls like a man's plea muffled by depths. The posse retreated, leaving Joseph silhouetted against the water, his figure merging with the shadows. Back in town, rumors swirled. The Caldwells had cursed the land, or the lake itself was a portal to hell. Margaret's condition deteriorated, her screams echoed across the hollows, tales of blood debt and relocation that made no sense to outsiders. By April 23, silence fell. Elizabeth rode into eminence, her black dress antique, face impassive. "Mother is gone," she told Reverend Whitley. "Returned to the water. No services needed." The Reverend, sensing wrongness, alerted the sheriff. They returned to find the house abandoned. Furniture intact, beds made, but sheets damp with cold moisture. Scent of metal pervasive. Margaret's clothes folded neatly, no grave in sight. The children's rooms held toys arranged in circles, mimicking stone patterns at the shore. Footprints told a chilling tale, Joseph's heavy boots leading to the water, followed by smaller prints. The families, in orderly file, they entered the lake and vanished. No return tracks, no disturbance on the surface. The barn held a chest, jewelry of ancient make, gold coins with runes, a sealed vial of lake water that seemed to pulse. In the cellar, hidden beneath hay, lay the family Bible, pages yellowed, entries tracing a lineage of vanishings every third generation. Elizabeth's journal, partially torn, painted horrors, rituals at midnight, animals, fed to the lake for prosperity. Margaret's discovery of the Bible, confrontation with Joseph. "This is madness! We can't keep feeding it!" Leading to confinement, poisoned teas. Final entry. Mother drank again. "It's time. The water must have what it needs. We go willingly." The investigation deepened, but the lake guarded its secrets. Divers plunged in, reporting currents where none should be, voices murmuring in ears, hands grasping ankles. One surfaced screaming, line severed as if bitten. The case lingered unsolved as the Ozarks swallowed the tale whole. As the veil of secrecy tore wider, the true abomination of Caldwell Lake emerged from the depths, dragging with it the Caldwell family's doomed legacy. With Margaret returned, and the homestead echoing empty, Sheriff Holloway couldn't let the vanishings rest. He returned with deputies under a full moon, the lake silvered like a blade. The air hummed with tension, insects silent as if in mourning. Searching the cabin anew, they found clues overlooked, a loose floorboard hiding Margaret's locket. Inside, a miniature portrait of a Scottish loch, eerily similar to their lake. Beneath, letters yellowed with age. Joseph's correspondence to a cousin in Virginia revealed fragments. The water grows hungry. Margaret threatened the covenant. She had to be offered. Prepare the vessel for relocation. The third generation demands it. A ledger bound in leather soft as skin. Catalogued offerings from 1870, 80 chickens, rabbits, lambs, tossed live into the depths, screams swallowed by water. But entries darkened 1880. Miller child, accidentally. A local boy drowned, body never recovered. Final, Margaret, willing in the end. The implications chilled. Not accidents, but sacrifices to appease what? The family Bible extended the horror backward. Entries from 1823 Pennsylvania. Joseph's grandfather discovering a spring of eternal promise. In the Appalachians, granting health and wealth but requiring tribute of life. Vanishings in 1842. Relocation via sealed vessel under new moon. Symbols etched to contain. A 1782 Scottish origin Angus Caldwell finding a highland pool. Family prospering until the water called for blood. They vanished in 1804. A cousin transported it overseas. The pattern every third generation. The entity, whatever dwelled in the water, demanded Caldwell blood, prompting moves to new sites, seeding new lakes with the essence. Holloway's private journal, later leaked, described nightmares post, visit submerged faces pleading, water rising to drown the world. He sealed the vial from the chest. It never evaporated, contents shifting like eyes watching. Divers returned, equipped with lines and lanterns. The first plunged, reporting a shifting bottom, sand, mud, or flesh yielding under feet. Voices echoed, join us. The blood is due. A tug on the line. He surfaced pale, muttering of shapes circling. The second felt watched, air hose seized. He clawed up, fingers bloodied as if scraped by nails. By summer, the case drew outsiders. A St. Louis reporter, sensing scandal, interviewed locals. Tales poured forth, pre-Caldwell owners fleeing. Jeremiah Foster, 1877, wife and sons dead of wasting sickness. Bodies sunk in the lake. Hinrich Mueller, immigrant abandoned after. Ghosts rose at night. No maps charted the lake. Surveys omitted it, as if erased. Samples analyzed in Jefferson City showed anomalies, minerals unknown, organics behaving like tissue, self-repairing, attracted to blood drops. One lab tech dreamed of drowning, woke with wet footprints circling his bed. The family's fate crystallized in Holloway's theory. Joseph, facing Margaret's rebellion, orchestrated the offering. She drank the water deliberately, invoking the entity. The children, indoctrinated, followed into the depths, willingly or compelled. Elizabeth's torn journal pages hinted at resistance. Sarah weeps, David doesn't understand. But the water whispers promises, eternal life below. Robert's strength used to restrain perhaps. As autumn leaves bloodied the hills, phenomena escalated. Neighbors reported lights under the lake, pulsing like a heartbeat. Animal carcasses washed ashore, drained dry. A hunter vanished, his rifle found at the edge, barrel bent as if gripped by immense force. Reverend Whitley performed an exorcism from afar, sprinkling holy water. It boiled on contact with the lake, steam forming faces that dissipated with sighs. Years blurred the edges, but the horror persisted. In 1937 drought, the lake receded unnaturally slow, revealing relics. Harrington's bag, journal intact. Final entry, poison in the tea. Caldwell's hiding something alive. Must alert authorities. Margaret's jewelry untarnished, David's shoe, laces tied. Genealogical records confirmed the pattern. Virginia 1820s, adults vanish post-children, Scotland 1780s, similar. A metal box held Angus's account. The pool is no gift, it's a prison for what slumbers. Feed it or it feeds on you. Items vanished en route to storage. Officials claiming misplacement. Researcher Richard Carter, 1952, linked cases, Pennsylvania 1877, illness and vanishings. Dreams of submerged Caldwell's urging relocation. His 1958 visit ended in disappearance. Notes described water rippling without wind. Pre-dawn voices, figures entering ripplessly. Camera film ruined, exposing family portraits instead of landscapes. 1968, journalist Eleanor Reynolds uncovered more interviews with descendants. Martha Holloway, widow of a deputy, recalling child's laughter from beneath, faces staring up. Frank Holloway kept the vial till death. It moved. At night. Reynolds saw ripples form spirals, heard murmurs, took a stone that vanished, leaving a puddle shaped like a handprint. Her unpublished manuscript warned, "The water is aware, ancient, perhaps predating man." The Caldwells were stewards, not owners, bound by blood to contain it. Modern echoes persist. 1959 surveys noted constant levels, absent wildlife, plants twisted toward the water. 1965 USGS isolated from aquifers, compounds mimicking neural tissue. 1996 National Security Classification for Contaminants. 2001 Ranger reports quick closure, disappearances off limits. 2002 drought, wet footprints mid-trail, earthquakes minor but targeted. 2017 hiker's illness watched from below. Legends grew. Spectral Caldwells sighted in draughts, dry, clothed, moving toward town with sorrowful eyes. Photos capturing family instead of water. Scientific theories, hallucinogens, electromagnetic superorganism fail to explain. An 1879 photo shows the Caldwells, background shape rippling like an awakening beast. The unwritten story. The lake lives, the Caldwells its vessels. Their vanishing's a ritual to sate, but the hunger grows. What if it's moving again, seeping into new waters? To grasp the chilling essence of Caldwell Lake, we must immerse ourselves in the historical and cultural tapestry of the Missouri Ozarks in 1901, a region where fact and folklore intertwined like roots in rocky soil, breeding shadows that linger to this day. The Ozarks, a vast plateau spanning Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, were a frontier's final gasp. Rugged hills carved by ancient seas, caves honeycombing the earth like hidden crypts, and rivers that whispered secrets of the past. By 1901, settlement had taken hold, but isolation reigned. Communities like Eminence were specks in the wilderness, connected by dirt roads that turned to mud in rains, where news traveled slow as molasses. Historically, 1901 marked a turbulent year. Nationally, President McKinley's assassination loomed, but locally the Ozarks simmered with racial tensions. Pierce City, not far from Shannon County, erupted in violence on August 19. The murder of Gisela Wilde sparked a mob lynching of Will Godley, French Godley, and Pete Hampton, black men scapegoated without evidence. A crowd of 1,000, including respectable citizens, stormed the jail, hanged Godley, riddled his body with bullets, then torched the black neighborhood, banishing the entire community. Similar riots scarred Joplin 1903 and Springfield 1906, driving black residents out, turning towns white only. These forgotten massacres embodied cultural trauma, secrets buried in unmarked graves, truths forbidden by collective amnesia. Whispers suggested bodies dumped in remote waters to erase evidence, echoing Caldwell Lake's dark role. The Ozarks settlement history fueled such unrest. Native Americans, Osage, Cherokee, were forcibly removed in the 1830s via the Trail of Tears, their curses said to haunt the land. White settlers, Scots, Irish like the Caldwells' ancestors, brought folklore, willow, the wisps leading to doom, haints, ghosts of the dispossessed. Lakes and rivers held particular dread. Folklore spoke of hungry waters, devouring souls, inspired by real drownings in treacherous currents. Man-made lakes amplified legends, though Lake of the Ozarks formed in 1931. Flooding towns like Lynn Creek and cemeteries, 280 graves relocated, some overlooked. Earlier dams created smaller reservoirs with similar tales. Sunken structures, homes, mills, bred ghosts, apparitions of drowned residents, orbs over water, the Ozark Howler, A cryptid with red eyes and eerie howls patrolled shores, guardian or omen. Curses abounded, a native chief's malediction on disturbers, linking accidents to spiritual revenge. Vanishing families dotted history, ghost towns like those in the Ozarks, abandoned after mining booms or feuds like the Bald Nobers, vigilantes in masks enforcing justice in the 1880s, their hangings leaving spectral nooses. Bloodlines cursed by inbreeding or pacts, as in Caldwell law, mirrored real isolation families in hollows, intermarrying hiding defects or crimes. Cultural superstitions deepened the eerie moon phases dictating rituals, stones arranged for protection, Celtic influences from immigrants. Water as a portal to underworld's ancestors, prevalent in folklore. Drownings were omens, bodies unrecovered meant souls trapped, calling kin. Secrets thrived in oral traditions, unwritten stories of bootleggers' tunnels, hidden mansions, cursed pianos playing alone. Blending fact, the Caldwell's covenant parallels pacts in Ozark tales like deals with the devil for prosperity. Their relocations echo migrant patterns, families fleeing scandals resettling with buried truths, forbidden truths. Racial violence's cover-ups, like Pierce City's marker only in 2001 acknowledging banished communities, educational yet unsettling. These events reveal human nature's dark underbelly, where fear breeds monstrosity and waters hide what society dares not face. Beneath the surface of Caldwell Lake's tale lies an abyss of symbolic and psychological depths, connecting to universal fears, cultural traumas, and the shadowed facets of human nature. Water, the story's central motif, embodies the subconscious, vast unknowable, holding repressed memories that bubble up unbidden. The lake's stillness masks turmoil below, much like how families bury secrets only for them to resurface as hauntings. The Caldwell's covenant represents inherited trauma, bloodlines cursed by ancestors' pacts, passing down not just genes but sins, echoing generational cycles of abuse or guilt. Psychologically, Joseph's stewardship evokes the superego's rigid control, suppressing the Ide's primal hungers, the entity demanding tribute. Margaret's rebellion symbolizes awakening consciousness, drinking the forbidden water to glimpse truth leading to her demise. The children's compliance highlights indoctrination, universal in dysfunctional dynasties where young inherit toxic legacies. Vanishings into the depths suggest suicide or surrender to despair, the lake a metaphor for depression's pull. Thematically, it taps universal fears, the unknown beneath familiar surfaces, like Lovecraftian horrors, ancient entities predating humanity, indifferent yet demanding. The hungry water personifies nature's revenge, punishing hubris. Caldwell's relocations mirror environmental exploitation, seeding destruction elsewhere. Cultural trauma ties to Ozarks history, lynchings as repressed racial guilt, bodies return to water. Paralleling hidden disposals, forbidden truths society drowns to maintain illusions. Human nature's darkness shines greed for prosperity via pacts, isolation breeding monstrosity. The entity's awareness questions free will. Are we stewards or slaves to instincts? Ominous tone, what if such lakes exist in us all, waiting to claim due? As our journey into Caldwell Lake's depths concludes, the chill lingers, a reminder that some truths are better left submerged. Yet they rise nonetheless. The Caldwells, bound by blood to an ancient entity, vanished in 1901, their secrets etched in journals and relics, warnings unheeded. Deaths, Margaret's offering, Harrington's dragged to the abyss, the family's watery grave, wove a tapestry of horror, secrets of rituals, relocations, human tributes festered in the Ozarks' isolation, blending with cultural traumas like banished communities and cursed folklore. Forbidden truths. The water lives moving, hungering, perhaps seeping into modern reservoirs, whispering to new stewards. What if the Caldwells call still, faces in ripples, urging containment? In draughts, do footprints lead you to the shore? Listen closely tonight, the shadow behind you might be the water, rising. Thank you for joining the shadow behind you. Until next time, watch the reflections.